How's everybody doing? Sorry I'm starting a little late today. Um, some technical difficulties a little bit, and then let's see. Hopefully everything goes well. Welcome to my photo editing live stream where I edit your photos. You submit them before the stream starts, and then I just edit them here live. And I just downloaded the last one. I haven't even looked at these yet. But that's I guess that's the charm of doing things live, right? Good to see everyone here. I see Jeff and Marcia. Good to see Lasse, Joanne, Garrett, and Gordon. All right, I will just get started, and let me get all my screens lined up. Do it that way. Let's see if I push this button. Let's see what happens. Nothing. How about this one? Yeah. That's the right one. Okay, so let's see. It looks like I got 13 images this week, so I'm going to have to move pretty quickly. And let me first download the optic modules for each of these that I don't have loaded before. So when I have to download an optic module, it means it's a camera lens combination that I haven't used before or, edited before. So always good to see new cameras and lens combinations. Gives me a feel for lens that I might be interested in getting for myself. Because if you guys know me, I have terrible gas. I shop every single day. And then I wonder why I can't keep up with my credit cards. All right, let's see. 2 more modules to download. Let's see what we got here. Wow, an oldie but a goodie, a Rebel T2i with pretty wide kit lens there. That's cool. It's always fun to see old cameras too coming into the stream. And then here we have, looks like what, a G5X Mark II. Interesting, there's some vignetting there. Maybe you've attached like a lens hood to the camera, Lasse. I can't imagine Canon would send out a camera that had vignetting like that unless that's the way the raw files are and they fix it in JPEG. But anyhow, okay. We'll just start here, and excuse me. Hopefully everybody can see and hear me okay. It looks like things are going well. Ooh, my batteries are a little bit low on the mics, but we can swap them out if we need to. All right, so we have some ducks here. This guy's in focus and everything else is out of focus. So we're going to have to work with this composition right in here. Nikon ZFC, wow, these are really nice colors, just straight out of camera. Let me go ahead and I got to do one more thing. I'm going to apply a default preset, which is just the optical corrections. You may have seen a little pop there, and noise reduction. Okay, so let's go back to this one, and I'm going to work on a square crop. Wildlife, I don't know if it's just wildlife or just about everything I shoot lately. It seems like it's been all square crop. Just using basic rule of thirds. So we got a center, got a nice triangle here. Maybe try to put that triangle. So I have a triangle now. Let's try and give that a go. think that works. We have foreground, midground, and background. Background's a little bit strong. Maybe a little bit more foreground. Okay, that works for me. And from here, I think what I'll do is, I think the white balance is fine. Maybe I'll warm it up a tad. Looks like I'm working with a JPEG, so I'm going to have some limited wiggle room. I'm going to warm it up a tad. And let's darken the background even more. So I'm gonna reduce the chroma mask here quite a bit. What I'm trying to do is make this the brightest part of the image down here. And then maybe do one in this direction. Okay, so maybe a little bit, just one stop would do it. Okay, I'm going to push the highlights a little bit so it doesn't look unnaturally darker. Just a tiny bit. Okay. Yeah, just a hint. Okay. Let's see what else we can do. I'm going to add some clear view to the beak because we can't really see the eyes. So I'm just going to work with the beak. Just give that a little more pop, a little contrast, maybe all around in here. And one more thing let me go back to this one. What if I just pull the vibrancy a little bit? I think really that's all I need to do. And then maybe get rid of these distractions. Let's see how that looks. Just pull something from over here. And use a little smaller one for the stem. We need to fix this a little bit more. We'll do this and all right. I think I'll do one more adjustment here. Let's just make this a little brighter. Like that. And then pull the overall brightness down. And use some micro contrast here and there. And I need to pull off some of this green tint. A little bit of green in here. So we'll go to green and just pull that down just a tad. Okay, we'll call it there. So we'll do a before and after, and let me get rid of this. And we'll do. So here's the original on the left side. And it's just all these distractions here. And the only thing really in focus is either the duck here or these weeds over here. So I just wanted to put the emphasis here. I don't know if that was your intent to be focused on this guy or on something else, but that's basically what happened, right? So there's the before and there's the after. And I think that works pretty well. All right, let's go to the next image. And we have a golf course. This has got to be a JPEG too, right? Let me see. Yeah, this is a JPEG too because it looks really rich. Raw files are usually a little bit flatter, so it's easy to see when things are edited already. And then also we have like a 16:9 or 16:7 crop. Okay. So it looks like this was probably a normal wide, like a 24 or 28 millimeter equivalent, and then just cropped in. And I'm not going to have much wiggle room because I need to do a lot of editing on this to make it something I would like. Let me just desaturate it a bit. I might even go black and white depending how much I can push and pull. Let's try vibrance. Yeah, vibrance is good. Add a little automatic, brighten that up a tiny bit. I can't push too much because then this will start to get blocky in here. And this looks a little bit off. I mean, the horizon's straight, but because this flagpole's crooked, it looks a little bit slanted. I guess that's okay. Compositionally, I don't think this wide format works. Let's see. Yeah, it's a 16:7 now, more or less. Maybe a 16:9? No. So what I'm going to do is I don't know. This is a little bit interesting here, this path leading to the hole. And then this little sand patch here is good too. But there's just too many ways, too many things going on in the image. So I'm thinking minimize it to just sort of this pathway leading to the hole, or working with the flag and the sand here. Sand trap, that's what it's called. I'm not really a golfer, so it took me a minute to pull that out of my brain. Maybe just work with the sand trap. And most of the lighting is on the left side here, because over here is a little bit dark. But it's got the more interesting tree. Let me try. Okay, I'm going to go with this side. I can't make that left side work. When I started to frame on that side, it just got a little bit too heavy on the right. So we're going to go 16. Let's try 16 by 9. Go right in here. And just stay in the lighted part of the areas. Question is, do I want to include this little bit of brush? I'm trying to find a line. I don't know. This is the hardest part of this image, actually, is finding a pleasing composition. I'm going to go with this. It's not, this is tough. I'm going to go with this. My thinking is I'm trying to balance all the elements, because we have a bright spot here, here, and here. And then we have kind of a line down here that forms sort of the foreground. This flag being in the shade is a problem. But all right. This is the most balanced composition I could find. And we're gonna play with the light a little bit. Tighten up the luma. And here. Maybe a little bit of a push. Can't push it too much. Let's back this off a little bit. And then this color, natural or vibrant? No. We'll just keep the original colors, but I need to tweak these a little more. Okay, and then I'm going to emphasize these reds a little bit. And maybe this purplish. No, that's... Need to adjust these a little bit. I think we need them. Oh, maybe one right there. Okay. All right, I'm just going to do a quick look at this. Yeah, that's awful. It's not terrible, but it's not great. I think the color is better. We need to pull this back. Okay, I'm going to call it there. This was a tough one. So if we look at the before and after, clearly this is just too harsh on the left side. You know, the greens were way too strong, the yellows were way too strong. So I just reduced the vibrancy to pull back on some of the stronger colors. And then compositionally, it's just too wide. And there's no reason for it to be. There's nothing in the scene that, you know, really needs to be in there. We just have kind of a repeating trees here. And yeah, this area right here is a shot, but it needs to be composed differently. And this area here, wow, I would have done this very, very differently if I were here. But that's what I would do in terms of edits. So there's the before. Let me just expand that out. There's the before, and there's the after. Alrighty. Let's see. We have a deer or a buck or whatever this is. Now, this is framed in a way it looks like it could be coming out of a wall, like it's stuffed, a stuffed deer, not a live one. But this looks alive. So let me see if I can kind of minimize this. I think in this shot, it would have been better to have a little bit deeper depth of field so you could see the trees a little better in the background, so you don't think this is like a stuffed deer, like a trophy. But okay, I think I can bring the trees out a little bit though. So I need to just straighten it a bit because he's kind of tilting up a little bit. And then compositionally, I need to make this look less like a trophy. I don't know. I don't know if it's worth trying to save these antlers. I think this works. Okay. Now, local adjustments. Let's try. See if I can bring these trees into focus a little better. Yeah, that looks good. Maybe some micro contrast. All right, now that feels more outdoorsy. Okay. And then let's fix the eye. We'll brighten that up a tiny bit, make it a little glassy. A little contrast. And let's saturate it a tiny bit. Maybe shift it a tiny bit. Okay, that's good. And I'm going to I got to look at the lighting real quick. Let me go over here. So the light is coming from behind the deer based on all this. All right. Very common though, right? You always want the sun at your back if you want to survive. So I'm going to try and make the light spill into the front a little bit too, though. So the light looks like it's a little bit more coming from the top. Because right now, things are just a little bit flat. See if I can. Do it this way. Okay. Just a little bit more that way. And squeeze that in a little bit. And then we'll do the same on the back. Ooh, that's going to need a different brush or control point. Let's try a basic brush. And we'll just feather this in. So what I'm going to do is turn the opacity way down. And spot here. Add a little bit in there. A little more there. Ooh. It's not bad, actually. A bit more up here. Okay. Almost there. Now, let me work on the background just a little more. I don't know if I should try and go darker. Yeah, I like that. Or brighter. Brighter and warmer. Let's cool it off and go darker. Cool it off a bit more. Okay, I'm going to go way dark like that, but then I'm going to go back and brighten this up a little bit this way. Okay. And let's add a little bit of darkness here. We could do this a different way. Let me use a control point. Okay, let's just add a quick vignette. Ooh, that's not working. What happened to my light over here? And a little bit more in the shadow. All right, I think I'm done. Did that, what just, let me go back to this. And let's get rid of, it's a little bit of haloing there. Okay. So we'll call it there. All right, so there's the before and after. Maybe a little less contrast over here on the right would help, but let me fix that. That's bothering me. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Come on. Try that again. Get rid of that. And just spread this a little bit more. And then All right. I'm going to be here all day if I really want to fix that. But my goal was basically to try to. God, this is bothering me. Which one is? It's this one. Just a little bit less. That's good. That's good. Pull this in. Pull this one in a little bit. All right, we'll call it there. You get the idea. Yeah, so I just wanted to separate, not separate, but have less separation between the foreground and the background, because it just felt like it was too. I just wasn't sure if this was inside or outside. Uh, and then bring a little bit more light into the face, and particularly the eye. And then just emphasize the light coming in from this direction and just having it spill a little bit more on top here. But I think that works overall as an edit. So if we do it this way, there's the new one. There's the original. You know, it's as a raw file is, it's very flat, which is fine. But that's why we edit these, right? And I would show it a little deeper depth of field if this were me, to bring the background in just a little bit more to give it more context, I think. Okay, let's go to the next one. And oh, XMet is asking, can you please zoom in on how the Photolab does the details versus noise? None of these shots are really a good example. The best way to compare is like if you go to my Flickr page and go to my comparisons album, you'll find a lot better examples there. You know, on a live stream, you know, with all the compression and everything that goes on, you guys are not seeing half what I'm seeing here when I'm editing. I'm seeing a really, really nice, clean image sometimes, but on YouTube, it doesn't show up quite as well. But if I run across an image here that makes it look that I think might be a good example to demonstrate what you're talking about, then I'll do that. All right, so we have let's see, guy on a pier. What's he looking at? Oh, he's got. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe a DJI or something. Doesn't look like a phone. But I like this little red cabin accent over here. Not crazy about these rocks, other than it's framing this. So again, this is kind of a split image picture for me. Because, you know, with the reflection here, and this little bit of framing here, let me just, I'm going to experiment a bit here and decide which composition I like better. So I'm kind of leaning with the little red accent, because that's kind of a shot, but the guy's not really doing anything. So I think I might be better off in here. And let's see. I think that's more interesting. Okay, and then from here, White balance looks good. I may tweak it a little bit later. But I'm going to work with the water and just pull in some detail there. And we're going to crush the blacks a little bit more. Just so there's a nice separation there. That might be too much. Maybe right there. And if I pull the contrast back, no. If I add it back in, no, that's too much. All right. We'll just leave it right there. And then we'll do a separate control line for the top here. And let's concentrate on these yellows. Bump up the chroma. I better concentrate on the greens. I'll do the yellows separately. And let's pull in the greens quite a bit more. All right, good. Now, let me do a new control point here on the reds. Again, we'll push the chroma up. And I'm just going to push this red a little bit stronger, maybe a little brighter. There's a little blue dot down here too. Let's amplify that. Can push the chroma up. And it's kind of a teal blue, so expand that a little bit. Okay. All right, good. And I like this little bit of rock up here. But what I want to do now is work with the yellows a little bit. So let's create a yellow-ish kind of mask. A little bit in here. Do the same in the water a tiny bit. Okay. So the question is, which way do I shift these? Maybe. I'm not quite getting the effect I want. What if I just do vibrance? And pull this luminance down a tiny bit. Okay, that's good. All right, and then the last thing is this dude. Got this pole. Not sure about this crop. Let me put him a little bit lower in the frame. Okay, I think I'm done. All right, so I like these little white things here, though. These trees. Let me just spot a little bit here. Um, just little touches. Those are already pretty well done. And a little spot here. Okay. Maybe that tree too. We'll just push that. Might be a bit too much. Right there. Okay, now I'm done. All right, so let's do a before and after. So let me zoom out. If I do them side by side, it's going to be hard to see, but yeah, there's just too much here. This is too wide of an angle, and it just minimizes everything. And these rocks here just make everything. It just weighs the picture down to the bottom right. So I wanted to balance this guy with this little red accent here, and the red accent just weighs the picture a little bit heavier in color. And this guy's pretty neutral, so I think it's still fairly balanced. And it's balancing by color. So there's my final edit. I think this is a much more interesting image. The other one was just too wide. So yeah, and then just punching the color and making the water a little more interesting. So here's the before image. And there's my edit. Okay, it's a DJI Osmo Pocket. Yeah, that's what it looks like, Samir. Let me go to the next one. Okay, another nice wide shot. Again, these horizons crooked. All right, a lot of work to do here. I mean, it's a beautiful scene, but compositionally and exposure-wise, exposure is about right. Because I get you're trying to save the highlights. The challenge here is that this would be been a good scene to sort of bracket. But I just want to see what's in here. So we got some rocks, a little island and a boat. So to me, the scene is right here. Right in here. Okay. So we're going to work with just the middle. So let's straighten it out. I'll just use this tool here. Okay, that's pretty close. All right, that looks good. And then I think a 16:9 will look good here too. Let's see where we're at. There's kind of a scene right there too. But the point I'd like to make with these wide shots, because I'm getting a lot of wide shots today, there's just too much negative space. All of this up here is kind of redundant with the clouds down here, and then of course the sea is taking up at least 1/3 of the image, and it's just very it's just when it comes to negative space, I'm not sure that this is working. So if I balance the boat with the sunrise and put the island in the center, I think that works. And just a little bit of a tilt to the right. Okay, a little more. All right, let's work on some of the lighting now. I don't think, yeah, that's not helping much. Now let me see what's in here now. So we have the boat with a little bit of light on it. This island's going to silhouette. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brighten up the right side of this image. I guess the best way is just a simple control line going right up to the sun. And add some clear view. Push the highlights a little bit more. Let's stretch this in a little bit more. A little bit more warmth to balance it. Okay, that works. And maybe another control line this way. Nah, we'll keep the color. There's not a lot of colors here. It's mostly this sort of purplish. All right, let's fix this boat up a little bit. And I want it to show a little more. And let's saturate it. Okay, that's good. Maybe a little more. All right, I think that's all I need to do. Okay. So let's do a before and after. So as you can see, this image here on the left, there's just way too much negative space, and it's kind of the challenge with the wide angle lens. So it's okay to take a shot like this wide, but with the intent to crop it later, you know. But I would have gotten a much tighter shot to kind of balance the image, because you got this huge amount of weight over here on the left side, and there's nothing to balance it on the right side. So again, I'm all if you haven't noticed, I like balance in my images. This is, besides, the horizon's crooked, but besides that, it's just totally unbalanced. Um, so I think this makes a much more interesting image, or balanced image at least. Um, okay, looks good. Um, oh, that was yours, Marco? All right, that's cool. Um, Ruth says they like the clouds are pretty interesting. I wouldn't crop too much. I would agree, except that there's to keep the clouds, you have to keep a lot of the bottom here. And again, it would just be very unbalanced, I think. If I cropped in, I would have to keep a lot of that on the left side. I think this just makes for a more balanced composition. It's a little bit oversaturated, but that's okay. That's easy enough to do, fix. Just pull it back a tiny bit. Well, not that much, but maybe about right there. I think that looks really good right there. Okay, let's go to the next one. Thanks for sending that in. How come it's not going? Oh, there we go. All right, another wide landscape. We have the trail leading in, so I'm gonna have to crop in again and go wide. So let's do 16 by 9 and come to about here. The question is, I don't like this bush, so I'm going to crop that bush out and just stay on the tree line. And we have this bush here. Maybe come into about here. I don't like it. All right. Let's do more of a vertical. A bit tighter. Whenever I see a path, I like to have it lead to something interesting, but this is just going off into nothing. So the path to me is irrelevant. But the trees here, I like this geometry inside the trees. We have all these nice verticals and repeating patterns. So I just need to work with that. And I'm just thinking, because this scene is primarily yellow with just a hint of green. So I feel like if I can work with the tones on a black and white, I might be able to get a more interesting image this way. Yeah, I think I'll get a more interesting image with the black and white. I just have to fix the tones. So let me pull that and just, all right. This 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 grass and trail is much brighter than everything else. So we need to kind of fix that. Go. Now let's work with the tones on the bark on this tree. What do you call that? The tree trunks. So I'm going to pick a spot here. Whoops. And let's do a Luma mask. Right about there. I have to do a separate Luma mask on this side. Okay. Kind of there. Might have crushed the blacks a bit too much. This is where I would normally just go into silver effects in Nick collection. But I'm going to have to work with it this way because not everybody has Nick collection. I need a very, very tight Luma mask in here. Maybe not that one. All right. Let's see what this brings us. Okay. A little bit too much. Okay. New control point. And let's push the chroma this time. Okay, a new one. Let's go in here and just separate this grass a little bit more. And then one more for the trail. I just want the trail to be a little bit grittier. I'll tighten up that mask a little bit. Yeah, that works. Just push a little bit of light onto it. All right, and then let me fix this corner where the sky kind of peeked in a little bit. Just use a little bit of tree, tiny bit of tilt more this way. Okay, yeah, I think I'm done. All right, so Silver Effects would have probably done a nicer job if I used it, but I'm just going to stick to Photolab. This lighting, yeah, okay, I'm done. So let me compare it this way. So there's the original image, which my eyes directly go right into this area automatically because everything else is kind of framed off with this bush and this bush. Whoops. And this sky is useless. And the trail itself just leads to nowhere, and you can't even see the trail down here. So, like, 40% of this image just doesn't have any value, to me. So I went with this black and white, and it's not my best black and white ever or edit ever, but what's key here to me is the composition. We're just keeping the important elements and we're able to see them, right? We can see the trail, we can see the tree trunks, and then just working with the contrast in here. So this is an image I would spend a lot more time on with the black and white editing part, but we're probably 80% there in terms of the overall look. But this would be something I would definitely take into something like Silver Effects and add some, some other effects, right? Um, like I would add some texture, something like this. Where is it? Maybe, and these are sort of these are film pack settings, I think, over here on the right. I would play with these in Silver Effects and sort of, or Silver Effects, because Silver Effects has a lot of the same thing, and just make the photo even more interesting or more artistic, so to speak. All right, let's go to the next one. And okay, we have a captured bird with the trainer. So I think we can just, yeah, we can do it. This will be pretty straightforward. I think I'll just turn this into a vertical. Let's try 5x4. Shoot. Let's do freehand. That's almost square, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Just go with a square crop. And I think the auto lighting will fix this up pretty nicely. And then all we need to do, just a few more global adjustments and we're done. And a little bit of contrast. And then we can clean up the noise a little bit. This might be a good example that XMeta was asking about before to see the difference, because I'll punch in, I'll let this settle for a second. But you can see there's a lot of noise up in here, and there's not a ton of detail here in the feathers. But I think DxO will bring this out really nicely. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click the unsharp mask, just crank this up a tiny bit here and here. And I'm going to fix the tones a little bit more. Might have to do a local. Let me just brighten this guy's face up a little bit. And pull out some of the red. Okay. And slight warming, because it is cloudy out. Because you can see how soft all the light is, so it's definitely cloudy. And it needs a slight shift this way. Not that much. I wonder if I can do anything with this light. Let me just work on the bird a tiny bit. Beak. All right. Tiny bit more in here. Give it a Luma mask. Warm it up a tiny bit. Nope, not that one. All right. Let's make a new control point. And just brighten up this area a tiny bit. A little bit of contrast. And then a little bit here. Okay. Let me export this and we'll be able to compare. It all looks good. So we'll do a comparison. This is something I think XMeta wanted to see, was how well does DxO pull out detail and reduce noise. And this is a good candidate. I didn't even look at the settings. We're at ISO 500, so it's not bad actually. Good shutter speed though, perfect for this kind of shot. And the good old 75 to 300 lens, one of my favorites. All right. So let's reset this. Okay, so there's the original. And if we punch in, you can see sort of the lack of detail and the chroma noise. There's not too much luminance noise. But if we put them side, there's the before and after, right? So just a square crop as usual, because there's nothing going on over here. And then add some lighting to the wings so you can see the details in the feathers. But if I zoom in, oops, how come that's not? Hold on. I'm trying to. Normally I can move this over independently. But this will give you an idea. Like see the details here in the wing versus over here and all the noise. And if we go further down, DxO just does a tremendous job at really bringing out the details in feathers and things, and then reducing the noise. So there's still a tiny bit of blotchiness here in the background, which I could easily fix by reducing the contrast with some control points. But we can go down here to the feet, and you can see it really brought out all the detail in the feet, in this glove. I mean, it's just mush over here, but look how nice that talon looks now compared to the original talon over here. So yeah, and see the feather detail that came out versus over here. So this is why I use DxO, because it just gives me the best output, I think, of any editor that I've used. All right, let's go to the next one. And we have some mushrooms. Let's see. This is a JPEG, so I'm going to be limited again. Like these highlights are clipped here, so I doubt I'll be able to bring those back. But I think compositionally it's fine the way it is. Not just because it's square, but it's pretty well balanced because of the lighting over here. I might emphasize this light a little bit more. So let me see if there's any hope of bringing any of these highlights back. Yeah, not really. They're pretty much gone. That's just making it look worse. But I'm gonna emphasize some of the lighting over here. Let's just shift it a little bit. Okay. And then we'll just push the light a tiny bit more on these mushrooms. Some more contrast. Let's tighten up the mask a little bit. Oh, there's too much right there. And just push the color up. I think that's about all I can do. Maybe just get rid of this light over here. Okay. So that's about all I can do there. Because it's a very high dynamic range scene. You have very high highlights and very dark blacks and shadows. So, and because it's a JPEG, I don't have enough wiggle room to modify this much. So basically all I'm doing is increasing the saturation over here and bringing out a little bit more of the background to balance the strong light coming off these mushrooms. So there's the before, there's the after, just very, very subtle difference. So before and after. But I think it's a really nice picture overall. Okay, let's go to the next one. And okay, we have again a super wide angle shot that has all of the advantages and disadvantages of a wide angle. You got some wide angle distortion. You got a ton of foreground and whatever this sky, a lot more than's needed to make this image work. So we have a little bit of a highlight here with a home. So it's just so tiny in the frame. I like this tree. So yeah, I think this one, I'm gonna have to crop way in. I mean, a super wide. Let me try super wide. If I go, because I like this tree over here. I think this kind of works. Let me just adjust this a little bit if I can. Because I got a tree here and a tree here to balance. Ducks over here and this house. Okay, I think that works. All right, so let's fix the water. Give it a little more separation. I'll just grab from here. Do that. Pick out some of this blue. Okay. Right about there. Let's add a little bit to the ducks. I think a chroma mask would help. Yeah, that's good. Right there. Let me go back to this one. I want to bring these clouds back out. They kind of got caught in the this cloud and this cloud. All right. Maybe even this one. A little bit more there and here. Okay. Good. Actually, we can just use the same control point for this house. There we go. And a little bit in the tree line. Let me just see if I can focus on some of the I always like to focus on the trunks when I do trees. I'm going to increase, let's do a luma mask instead. There we go. Just a little bit of a push. Let's do this tree. Come up here. There's a few structures in the background here too. Okay. We need one right there. Maybe a little bit along the shore. Let's give it some clear view. There we go. And then a touch right there. Let's go out. Maybe not. Okay, that works. And then we'll do a control line. For the sky. Put this up here. All right. Wow, this was shot at f/16. That's why it's a tiny bit soft. So what I'm going to do, we're going to export this one too. We're just going to add a touch here on the unsharp mask. And then I think the ducks, yeah, they're just too small. Okay. I think that's it. Oh, sensor spot. Let's fix that. Okay. So I'm going to export this one. And compare this and reset it. All right, so there's the original image. Again, you know, these wide angle shots are tough because, you know, they just bring in way too much on the top and bottom here. So I cropped in basically. Let's see if we can do a side by side. So here's my image here on the left. that's been edited and denoised and sharpened and all that good stuff. So if I punch in, I think it brought out a lot of details and killed a lot of the noise. But this was shot at f/16, so there's a ton of diffraction. There's only so much you can do. DxO does a good job at fixing diffraction by bringing back a lot of details that may have been lost. But let's do it this way. So there's the after shot. I think that looks really nice. This is a nice scene. I've just basically cropped in to the subject, which are the ducks, and then I wanted to keep the accents like this house here, a couple of tiny houses here, definitely this tree and this tree to kind of frame the entire image, or frame the scene, I should say. And there's also this little bit of a ripple in the water here that also kind of frames the ducks, right? So I think overall this is a better composition. And again, it's okay to shoot wide angle, but don't shoot as if you have the choice. I didn't even look at what camera and lens was being used here. 7-14, and you're at 7. So I would have definitely cropped into 14 millimeters and got a tighter shot. And then cropped in again to like a 16:9, like I did here. So I think, yeah, I think that came out really nice though, overall, compared to the original, which is just too much negative space. All right, let's go to the next one. Let me see where I'm at. Oh, okay, just these last 4. What I'm gonna do, I need to get a glass of water. So just give me a minute. Ooh, even better. I forgot I had some ginseng green tea. I usually water this down so it's not so sweet, but hmm. Okay, much better. Let me get my mic back on. How are we doing on batteries? Ooh, I might as well switch out mics here too while I'm at it. Okay. On. Sorry about the intermission here. These are really long streams. I think an intermission makes sense, right? So smoke them if you got them, as they used to say. All right, testing 1, 2. Good. Yep, everything looks good. How's everybody doing today anyway? Let me just get a little more sip and then we'll get back to it. Wow. I got this when I went out to the show, this giant bottle at the gas station. When I was going out to the balloon show. Normally I just get water, but it's like I am paying $2 for a bottle of water when I can get, at least something. Even though this is not healthy for you, right? Because of all the sugar and stuff. But I just can't bring myself to buy bottled water. It's just so expensive. And I ain't buying a 6-pack or a gallon either, because you can get a gallon for like $2. Well, no, I paid $4 for a freaking gallon one time. I said, I'm not doing that again. All right, so let me get to these images. Okay. Oh, we have a really nice street scene. This doesn't need a lot of work, actually. Let's just click the smart lighting, push the shadows, give it a little bit of clarity. A little bit too hard to push on the shadows, so we're going to have to push the highlights up. Midtones. Give it a little contrast. And let's see if we can just straighten this a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And compositionally, I'm pretty satisfied with this. I don't think I need to do anything. Just a little bit of touch of light here and there and a little more drama in the skies. So let's add a little bit of light in here so we can see what's going on. A bit more. And then on the people too. And then color-wise, all right, little drama in the sky, and then we'll work on the rest of the colors. Maybe we need some contrast. Ooh, too much, too much. We don't need this one. We'll pull this in a bit. Okay, that's good. Just need a slight tilt to the left. A little bit more. Okay, good. And okay, color-wise, I don't know if there's an individual color I want to change or if it's a color profile I want to try. I'm just going to try the different ones here. That's better. Could even try a LUT pack. Oh, wait. Aura. That's kind of interesting, but it messed up the sky. I like the colors in here, though. Autumn. No, these LUTs are just messing up the sky too much. I rarely use these LUTs, but that's not bad. Just adds a little bit of warmth to it. Let me try a pastel shift. Nope. Warm matte. It just needs a little bit more warmth. I don't think I need a lot to do that, though. How about Old Sicily? No. I think that was my favorite. So I turn that off, turn this on. Yeah, that's all we need to do with the color. It just needed something. I'm going to pull the blacks a tiny bit in, and we'll call it there. Okay. All right, so there's the before and after. Very slight crop to just straighten it, and then auto lighting and a LUT, basically. And then brighten up the street shops in here, because those were hard to see, and then the individual people. And I think that's all we needed. Right? That looks better, right? And the colors look good now. Just needed a LUT. I mean, I could have tweaked the colors all day long, but sometimes a LUT is just faster. Okay, let's go to the next one. And we have, looks like the same owl from last time. Let's see. What else is in this scene? Ah, it's interesting. The background is completely gray. But let's just do a smart light. Just a slight tilt this way. And just come in a little tighter. I wonder, thinking, maybe not have so much stick. It's still a lot of stick. Because I want the bird to be at least 2/3 of the frame. That's a little less than 2/3, but I think that'll work. A little bit to the left or to the right. Okay. Let me just sip a little more. Suddenly I'm really thirsty. All right. Let's do one more global adjustment. Just something to kind of bring out and some micro contrast. And then we'll just do a little touch up here and there. Just a little bit on the beak. And the eye. A little bit extra there. Same thing with the talons. Okay. Let me just see if I'm missing anything. Nope. I got it all. So yeah, that was pretty straightforward edit. It just basically needs some brightening and a little bit of contrast, right? Why? Oh, sorry for making that jump around. But yeah, there's the before and after. Very, very straightforward edit. I like how you underexpose it a bit so we could save all of the details in the feathers. Okay, let's go to the next one. Yeah, this was the one that was a little, okay, so the optical corrections did get rid of that vignetting because I can't believe Canon would send out a camera that would do this on its own. So it's doing a lot of optical corrections in camera, and there's still some barrel distortion here. So I'm going to just add a little bit more. Let me see. Distortion. I forget where it is. Maybe it's down here. No, we'll leave it. Let's do this. Do a perspective correction. Again, another super wide angle lens. What is this? 8.8. Which is multiply that by like 5. So this is about a 35 millimeter. The Canon is a 1-inch sensor. I think the crop factor is around 4 or 5, something like that. Or no, about 4. So 4 times 9. Yeah, so this is like a 24 to 28 millimeter kind of range. But there's still some pretty heavy vignetting here. Let's dial that back a little bit. So compositionally, I'm thinking I think a black and white would look good here too. And then I'm trying to find a good geometry. I mean, I love wide angle shots, but they need, normally wide angle shots, I get up very close to whatever it is I'm taking a picture of, like within a couple of feet, usually with super wide angle lenses. Those are a lot more interesting, but these wide angle like landscape shots, I don't do very often like this, unless I intend to crop them later. Still a tiny bit of distortion here. I need to, yeah, just about that. Okay, that's good. Um, I wish this light wasn't here, but okay. Let's work on some of the tones. Just a touch there. I might have to do local adjustments to get this to work. Whoops. I meant to do this. Okay. Couple local adjustments maybe. Okay. I'm debating if I should crop in a little more. Maybe just a hair. Right about there. And then This is tough. Just a tiny bit. Okay. I'm going to do a tiny bit in here. Let me come in tighter. Okay. All right. Ruth thinks the sky may be a tad darker. Maybe. I think that would make the scene too dark, but I could, let me eyeball that idea. I'll use this. Okay, that works. Just a little bit less. All right, so let me export this. Because there's a, all this editing we did, I don't know if exporting this will clean up the noise or not. This noise up here is from the editing. It's not so much in the image itself. So I'm just wondering if yeah, that cleaned up. All right, so let's reset this. And so there's the original unedited, no optical corrections, obviously, with the one here on the left. So yeah, again, this whole right side in this case just doesn't do anything for me. It just adds a lot of unnecessary weight to the image. And then everything over here on the left, just a slight crop. I didn't like this particular pole right here, but now it's just that. I think it works. But yeah, there's the before. Oops. And there's the after. So it's just to play with the geometry, basically. And then again, my usual tendency to try to balance things. And since this image is strictly about geometry and architecture, black and white works fine. And there's good separation of tones here. So, because being in color, if I was going to use this sign here and splash a red here and here, maybe I would have kept it in color. But since I cut that out and I'm not using this or this, these are just too tiny. I didn't see any reason to keep it in color. So I think that looks a lot better. Okay, let's go to the next one. Ah, that's interesting. Why are the clouds shaped like that? Oh, this is a mountain here. So this mountain ridge comes down, and that's why the clouds are kind of going behind. Okay, that makes sense. When I first pulled this up, I was like, what the hell is going on over here? But now I understand. And then we got a bench here in the foreground. Um, all right. God, the sugar just makes you thirstier, doesn't it? When you drink things that are kind of sugary. Okay. Again, we have it super wide angle. What are we? 12 millimeters. And there's just wow, this is all just too far away. What's in here? Looks like a restaurant and a marina, and then a house. A little weather station there. So there's a lot of interesting things in this frame, but they're all too tiny. And this bench, the perspective from the bench here, just too high. So I would have gotten much lower and much tighter and stood further. I would have done a lot of things differently here. But at least you went out. I don't go anywhere. I'm like a little hermit here, live streaming every day. Okay, let's see. I don't know if I can make this bench work because of the perspective. I don't like this perspective of kind of looking down at it. Mm. Rocks are a little bit more. Yeah, rocks are a little easier to kind of like deal with the perspective issues because they're rocks. You can't really tell what angle you're looking at a rock. All right, that's better. That's a better composition, I think. A little tighter. It's still not as tight as I would have preferred, but let's do that. And let's work with the water. I'll just use control points. Oh, there's some ducks or something in there too. Okay. And then we'll do a control line on the mountain. But let's keep a whoops. We need a new one. There we go. So let's tighten that up by luminosity. Because I don't want to take away the softness of the mountain, but I do want to add some definition to the sky. Just so that they pop out a little better. I need some contrast in there. Okay. I might need to do a separate one. Let me do one more control line here. Crank up the luma a tiny bit. And we'll just bring that down. Okay. And let's light up the little accents here of color down in here. We have this one, we have this house, we have this. That's not color, but it's definitely something brighter in the scene. Maybe this little bit of rocks and shore in here. Looks like a small pier over there. So just brighten those up a tiny bit. Punch the color up. Let's punch the reds. And give them a little bit more luminance. Okay. And we need a slight horizon correction here. Okay. I think that'll do it, except for let's get that out of there. This needs something. This needs its own control point. All right, I'm done. Okay, so all right, so there's the before, right? So again, the bench. It's just, I just don't like that perspective. So I just cropped it out. And I like the framing of these branches and these rocks framing sort of the lake. I think the only thing I would do is it just needs a tiny bit of warmth. Okay, and then these rocks need to be less warm. Okay, now I'm done. So there's the before and after. So before and after. All right, very nice scene. Okay, let's go to the next one. Or is that it? Let's see. Oh, that was the last one. All right, so let me go to the comments. I guess my comment thing is not working. Or is it this one? I don't know why. So I'm gonna have to look at all of these manually. All right, so I've noticed most of the pictures here are taken by Olympus. Yeah, I think you're right. There was one Canon in there which was interesting, an old 550. And Ruth says, I sent you one about an hour ago. Okay, I'll take a look. I mean, I'm a little bit tired, but I'll try. It's much better in black and white. I think you're referring to the architecture one, because that was the I only did 2 black and whites, right? So thank you. I appreciate that. Much better. Okay. Maybe a touch in the midtones. Yeah, I think I got it. I think I got the midtones. And Milky Way photo. Okay. I'll try. I'm not great at Milky Way photos, believe it or not. Yeah, that I think you're referring to the bird not the bird, the yeah, it was the bird photo with the guy, the trainer holding the bird on his arm. That did a good job. So hopefully X Meta is still here and saw that, because that was a good example of using DxO, how much detail it brings out, how much it reduces the noise, all of that stuff. And let's see, we have Shakib, I think. Shakib or Shakib. Anyway, hello, welcome. Thanks for coming in. And Marco's here. Good to see you. And Ruth says, I find the sky. Oh, yeah, I remember that. I thought it was just too much, though. And Roberto, I don't know if you're still here, man. It's probably like 3 in the morning for you now, or 2 in the morning. But good to see you. You got a couple of videos I need to catch up on. I found the titles kind of interesting. I watched your one of the Walter Mitty review. That was pretty good. That was a great movie. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Rob, thanks for doing these. I'm always happy to do these edits. You know, if it's helping you guys, just let me know, you know, if you want me to continue. I probably will either way. But you know, there's only like 20 people here. If it goes down to like 5 or 6 people, I don't know if it's worth, you know, anybody's time. Obviously, I'm not doing a good job. Not that I'm doing a great job now, but you know, I try. All right, let me find Ruth. Guys, have any other comments or anything? Let me know. Oh, Baham, thank you. I'm doing a great job. I appreciate that. um, Let me see if I can find Ruth's image. So I got to rearrange my screens and give me a second here. Oh, there's one here from Adrian that I didn't do. Let me sort this by last modified. Wow, 3 more came in since I'll have to do these other 2 next time, but I'll do this one from Ruth because I said I would. But we have another bird image, and honestly, if Adrian and John, if you're still here, just leave a comment in the chat section, and I'll do them. I'll do them now if you're here. Otherwise, I'll do them next week. So it's Adrian and John. Looks like John follows maybe. I don't see the full name. Okay. All right, let me go back to the screen. All right, I think it's this one from Ruth here. Yeah, I'm not great at Milky Way shots, but I'll give it a shot. No pun intended. All right, so I'm thinking we want the sky to be black. Let me just raise this up. And we'll use a control line. Gosh, yeah, I'm really not good at these things, but let me do a Luma mask. Okay. Because if I try to darken this area, maybe if I turn it around, I don't want to darken the Milky Way itself. And luminance of these two things are pretty much the same. So let's see if I can bring this down without. Okay, we'll do that separately. I'll spread this out a little bit. Okay. Now go back here. See what to do. See if I can make a mask this way. Hmm. Sorry, I'm not talking much. I'm concentrating because like I said, I don't do Milky Way photos very often. I haven't done one in a long time. It's been probably, I mean, I did some astro photos last year, but that's totally different than doing a single shot Milky Way. So let's see. I don't think I can bring out this one too well. Let's see. A little bit there, a little bit here. And then down in here. Okay, so the thing with my thinking here is, you'll notice that I have a very, very tight luma mask. I mean, I'm at 100% because I'm trying to only affect the very most subtle tones of the Milky Way itself. I need to cool it off a little bit, give it a little more magenta. Because the differences in tones from point A to point B are very, very subtle. So to bring out to separate those tones, you have to be very, very careful. Okay, I didn't even apply any optical things. Let me do that real quick. This is a raw image. Why is there no chromatic, purple fringing, auto there? Unsharp mask is fine. Deep prime is fine. Let's see. Yep, that looks good. Distortion. Do I not have this lens? Oh, this is a manual focus lens. That's why. Okay. All right. That's why I don't have optical corrections here. Okay. Let me see where I'm at. Okay, not bad. Not too bad. So let me work on just a little bit on the landscape. I want to push this and give it some. What's up here? Yeah, maybe a touch here. Yeah, and okay. Let me export this. I think that's about all I can do. So export. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Um, Hopefully I'm back now. But okay, so yeah, the separation of tones is critical. So I used very, very tight. When I say tight masks, like I'm limiting the separation of the values to very, very close ranges. Um, but hopefully that looks a lot better, I think. Uh, for not really being good at Milky Way photos, I think I'd be happy with that. Okay, let's do. Uh, I think I saw John said he was here. John Follows is here. So I'll do John's because I said if you're here, I'll do it. So give me a second. I think it's this one. Adrian, Priyan. This is gonna be the last one. I have to go. So I'll download that. I'll do this one and this one next week since yeah, I really have to go. All right, where is it? It should be in this folder now. What did I download? This little birdie, right? Oh, right here. All right. So let me do the optical correction. So Z7 II. Oh, nice. With a Tamron 150 to 500. I was always curious what this combination would produce. I shopped a Z7. I'm always looking at cameras. So saying that I've been shopping for a Z7, take it with a grain of salt because I'm always looking. But yeah, that's beautiful. Wow. It's really nice output. Man, your shutter speed though. My God, John. I would have used a little faster shutter speed, but can't argue with the results. So I think, yeah, there's not a lot to do here. So let's apply my basic preset. And I think we'll do a square. I just have to adjust it slightly. Looks like a backyard kind of bird. Actually, this original 3x2 is not bad, actually. I'll just stick with this. I just need to come in a little tighter. Okay. All right. Just some automatic lighting. Slight push here. And then what I'm gonna do it kind of backwards. I'm just gonna do a chroma mask. I'm just gonna tighten this up a bit. So I need a couple more here. I'll just bring this in. Okay, and then let's brighten it back up. So yeah, that's good. Maybe a little brighter. And then let's do the eyes, beaks, and talons. So eyes. I know, Ellie. It's okay, baby. Guess that's good. Let me go to the next one. Do this beak. Okay. All right, and then let's just do a little bit of lighting on the bird. Contrast, midtones, a little saturation or vibrancy. And then one more here. Okay, and then let's try and fix some of this feed down here. That one's not working. Okay. Uh, okay, just a tiny bit of vignette, I think. And then I need one more sort of bigger thing on just this bird. I'm gonna pull back. And color-wise, there we go. Nikon Z profile. Just a tad more overall brightness. And then let's export this. Yeah, there's little rings and things on this, on the legs, right? Okay. So we'll compare. Reset it. All right, so there's the before and after. And again, I may have over sharpened a tiny bit, but you're not normally pixel peeping at 100%, right? Normally you're just looking at this at a normal viewing distance. So a slight crop and then punching in onto the bird. I wish the feed down here wasn't clipped. I could probably do a little more work in here. This is a little bit bright. You know, I got to fix that. I just know I was so focused on the bird. Wait. Let me fix this area here. Tighten up the luma. Just bring it down. All right, that's better. We'll give it a second. We'll do one more thing and then I'll go back to the chat and we'll call it. All right, so there's the before and after. All right, that's better. Yeah, I think that looks really good. So if we just punch in, there's the after, there's the before. So again, raw files are always going to be typically a little bit flatter. So it's up to you when you're editing your photos to bring it to sort of the subjective color and tones and things that you want. So I think that came out really well. All right, thanks for sending that in. And I will, let me just hit some more of the chat. I think I saw a question here. What is chroma versus luminance? Chroma just means color. So you're limiting the color mask, okay? And I can demonstrate that on this image here. So let me go here and I'll just pick a mask like this, right? So right now the chroma is set to 50%, or the color. If I put this all the way down to 0, you can see that the control point just becomes sort of like a radial mask. It's very, very evenly spread without regard to color. But since I put this point on the orange part of this bird, I can limit the chroma to only affect the orange. But that's a little bit too tight, so I would back it off. And now I'm getting more of the orange, right? It's kind of, spreading its tolerance. I forget what it's called. So chroma is color, right? Like if you think of the word monochrome, monochrome just means one color. So chroma is color mask. Luma is basically light, right? Lumens is light. So that's the word luma. So if I want to minimize this mask by luminosity, right? Luma, luminosity, lumens, pretty much all the same thing. I can tighten this up so it only affects the light that is equal to each other. I hope that makes sense. So if you have Photolab 7, you can kind of experiment with this. So that's what I was doing with that Milky Way shot, right? Is I was trying my best to, if you look at the original, you can see that the difference in luminosity or brightness between the Milky Way and the black sky is very, very subtle. So I used a very, very strong luminosity mask to separate them. So I got, more like this. So hopefully that answers your question. Okay. And, oh, Eric, how are you, Eric? Yeah, I'm almost done. I'm almost done. So you have to go back and watch if you want. Uh, okay, Intrigue will be here next week. Good to see you. Uh, and happy to do that for you, John. Thank you, Amir. Thank you, Ruth. I appreciate that. And that looks like that's it. So you guys have a great rest of your week. I may stream again tonight, but I'll do it like a shopping stream. Because there's a lot of good deals on Amazon right now. But if you guys like these streams, buy me a coffee, make a donation on links below. Send me more images for next week. I'm always happy to do them for you. And if you want me to spend more time explaining my edits, I can do that. It just makes the streams really long. Like I'm at like 2.5 hours now. But if you find that more helpful, I can do that. Or if you just want me to go in and edit them, because another way I can do these is I can edit them all before the stream starts and just make a video and showing you the edits. That would be a lot more concise, but you may not, I don't know. Live streams are more interesting because you get to, I think out loud a lot, and I think, you can see my thought process of how I come to the final image or edit. So there's a couple of ways to do it. But, let me know in the comments section if you're watching this later, if you want me to change how I do this in any way. But thanks everyone for being here, and I will see you guys again most likely next week.